In this video, I'm going to go through the solutions to Unit 5 test. The first question is that what is the period of the function y equal negative 2 cos 4 over 3x plus 6 minus 1. We know that b is 4 over 3, so the period is 360 divided by 4 over 3. If we simplify this one, we get this is 270. So the first question is, the answer is 270 degrees. The next question says, what is the phase shift of the function y equals sine 2x plus 45 minus 3? I can write this one as sine factor of 2. I get x plus 45 minus 3. Since here we have plus 45, then it means that there is a 45 degrees left phase shift. So this one is E, left 45 degrees. The next question is, what is the minimum value of the function y equal 4 sine x plus 45 plus 1? The minimum value of sine is always a negative 1. So the minimum value here is 4 times negative 1 plus 1, which is negative 4 plus 1, which is negative 3, which is A. The other one says, the next question, given that the period is 3, find k in equation y equals sine kx. We know the period is 3, and we know that b is k, so this means 360 divided by k has to be 3. So if we solve this one, b is going to be 120, because if you crisscross, you get 3k is 360, divide by 3, you get k is 120, which is option B. The next question says, one complete pattern of periodic function is called a cycle. Is it true or false? The answer is true. We call one cycle to be one complete pattern. The amplitude of a periodic function can be positive or negative. The answer is false, because the amplitude cannot be negative. It is always positive, so the answer is false. The next one says the graph of cos x minus 90 and sine x are the same. The answer is true, because if we shift the cosine graph 90 degrees to the right, we get the sine graph. If you want to know why, the cosine graph looks like this one, and the sine graph looks like the following, although this one has to be like this one. You can see that if I shift the cosine curve 90 degrees to the right, this will go over here, and this point is going to go over here, and we get the sine graph. So the answer is true. It says a linear function is an example of a periodic function. No, because linear function does not repeat. The maximum value of y equal negative 2 sine x is 1. No, because sine x is minimum at negative 1. So negative 2 times negative 1 is going to be 2, and it's not 1, so this is false. And the last one, phase shift is another term for horizontal translation, which is true. The next question says, if y is equal to 4 sine 1.5x plus 8 plus 4, and it starts at x equal to 0, we have to find the following. First of all, it asks for phase shift. So I'm going to rewrite the equation as y is equal to 4 sine 1.5. I factor it out, and I get x plus 8 over 1.5 plus 4, which I can write it as 4 sine 1.5 x plus 8 over 1.5 gives you approximately 5.3 plus 4. Since the formula is x minus h has to be negative 5.3. So for phase shift is 5.3 left. For period, we know that b is 1.5, so I can write period is 360 divided by 1.5, which is going to be 240, which is the same as 4 pi over 3. So the period is 240 or 4 pi over 3. The amplitude is the coefficient of sine, the absolute value, which is 4. The equation of axis is y is equal to 4, is the constant here, which is the vertical shift. The domain is x in R, but since x starts at 0, this means that x has to be greater than or equal to 0, and the range is y in R. Now, if you look at the equation here for y, you can see that the maximum value of the function is when sine is 1. So you get 4 plus 4 is 8. So y has to be less than or equal to 8 and greater than or equal. The minimum value is when sine is negative 1. So you get negative 4 plus 4, which is 0. We have the sine function that has a period of 540, an amplitude of 3, and a maximum height of 0, given at point 0,4. We are supposed to find the sine function, or the equation using the sine. First of all, from this information, I know that the period is 540, which is 360 divided by b. So from here, b is 360 over 540. If you simplify this one, you get 2 over 3. Also, I know the amplitude is equal to 3. And also the maximum is 4 here. So max is 4. But we know that amplitude is max, which is 4, minus mean divided by 2, which is equal to amplitude, which is 3. From here I get that 4 minus mean, if I cross multiply, is equal to 6, or mean is equal to 4 minus 6, which is minus 2. So our k value is mean max, which is 4, plus mean, which is negative 2 divided by 2, is 2 divided by 2, which is 1. So, as I said before, it's much easier to write the cos function first. So y is equal to amplitude 3 cos b is 2 over 3 times x minus h. H is the x coordinate of the first maximum, and you can see that x is 0, so x minus 0 plus k, and we found that k is 1. So this becomes 3 cos 2 over 3 x plus 1. Since we need the sine function, we just add 90 degrees to the argument of the cos, and we get the sine. So I can write this one as y is equal to 3 sine. The argument to the cos is 2 over 3x, so it's going to be 2 over 3x plus 90 plus 1. So this is the equation of a sine curve now. The next question is, we have to find sine and cosine functions for the following graph. First, from the graph I can see that the max is equal to 1, Mean is here, which is -3. Period is from this point to this point. If we start counting the number of boxes, we see that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the period becomes 8. So I can write that B is 360 divided by period, which is 8, is going to give me 45. Now H is the x-coordinate of the first maximum. The first maximum occurs here on the curve, so I'm going to say H is 5. A is max 1 minus mean divided by 2, which is 4 divided by 2, which is 2. K is max plus mean divided by 2, which is -2/2, which is -1. So knowing these, I can write that y is equal to, first I'm going to write the cosine function, which is a, which is 2 cos. Now b is 45, x minus h is 5, plus k, and k is -1. So this is our cosine function. To find the sine function, I'm going to add 90 degrees to the argument of the cos. The argument of the cos is the whole thing here. So I'm going to write 45 x minus 5 plus 90 minus 1. The next question says solve 5 equal 8 sine 60 times x minus 45 minus 3. I'm going to bring -3 to the left, so I'm going to get sine 60 times x minus 45 is equal to 5 plus 3, which is 8. Divide both sides by 8. I get sine 60 times x minus 45 is equal to 1. We know that sine 90 is going to give us 1. So this means that 60 times x minus 45 has to be equal to 90. If we divide by 60 both sides, I get x minus 45 is 1.5. -45 to the right, I get x is 45 plus 1.5 is 46.5 degrees. I have to graph one cycle of the function y equal -3 sine x plus 60 minus 1. From the equation we see that a is -3, b is equal to 1, h is -60, and k is -1. So my mapping notation becomes xy goes to x over b, which is x over 1, so x, plus h, which is -60, ay, which is -3y, plus k, which is -1. So for every xy pair of point in the base function, the table of values, I'm going to apply this mapping notation to get the table of values of the transformed function. The mapping notation, the table of values for the base function, which is y equals sine x, is the following. X, I'm going to pick 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. When x is 0, sine 0 is 0, sine 90 is 1, 180 is 0, 270 is -1, and 360 is 0. Now I'm going to apply this mapping notation to this table of values, and this is what I'm going to get. every x you subtract 60. So 0 minus 60 is minus 60, 90 minus 60 is 30, 180 minus 60 is 120, 270 minus 60 is going to give us 210, and 360 minus 60 is going to give us 300. For every y value in the base function, I'm going to multiply by -3 and subtract 1. So this is going to give me -1 for 0. For 1, I get -3 minus 1 is -4. For 0, again, I'm going to get -1. For 270, I get -3 times -1 is gives me 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. And for 0, I get -3 times 0 is 0 minus 1 is -1. Now I'm going to plot these values. When x is -60, which is going to be somewhere in between, a little bit here to the left, I'm going to get -1, which is going to be somewhere around here. For x is 30, we get -4. For x is 30, we get -4, which is going to be somewhere around here. For x is equal to 120, I'm going to get -1, which is going to be somewhere around here. For 210, I get 2. For 210, which is here, I get 2. And for 300, I get -1. 300, I get -1, which is going to be here. So my graph is going to look something like this. The next question says we have a Ferris wheel which has a diameter of 14 meters. So this one is 14 meters. And it begins at the lowest position on a wheel at a height 3 meters above the ground. So if this is the ground, this distance is 3 meters. The wheel completes one rotation in 10 seconds. Draw a graph of the function for 2 rotations. So let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. 2 rotation up to here. I'm going to set this one to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. We know that initially it is 3 meters above the ground, so it's going to be somewhere around here. Then after half a period, which is 5 seconds, is going to go 14 plus 3, 17 meters above the ground. So after 5 seconds, is going to be 17 meters above the ground, which is going to be somewhere around here. Now another 5 seconds is going to reach back to 3 meters again. So at 10 is going to be at 3 meters. So the first part of the graph is going to look like the following. Now this pattern continues again. After 5 seconds is going to go to the maximum, and then again back to 3 meters again. So we're gonna get something like this graph. The next one says find an equation for this function. We know that the maximum is 17 meters, the minimum is 3 meters and the period is 10 seconds. First of all, we know that A is max minus mean, 17 minus 3 divided by 2, which is 7. K is max plus mean, 17 plus 3 divided by 2 is 20, which is 10. We also know that B is 360 divided by period, which is 36. Now, if you look back to the equation, to the graph that we had before, you can see that the first maximum occurs here with x equal to 5. This means that our h value is going to be 5, which is the x-coordinate of one of the maximums. So I can write the equation as y is equal to a, which is 7, cos, b is 36, x minus h, x minus 5, plus k, which is 10. Now, if we want to find the sine one too, I can write this one as 7 sine, add 90 to the argument of the cos. So it's going to be 36 times x minus 5 plus 90 plus 10. The last part of the question says determine the exact time in which the height of the Ferris wheel is 6 meters. We found that the equation is 7 cos 36 times x minus 5 plus 10, and this one has to be equal to 6 meters. I'm going to move 10 to the right. I get 7 cos 36 times x minus 5 is equal to negative 4. So from here, cos 36 x minus 5 is negative 4 over 7. Since cos is negative, because it's negative 4 over 7, by the cast rule, we know that cos is positive in fourth and the first quadrant. So the angle has to be in the second and the third quadrant. As I said before, when you're trying to find that angle, forget about the negative sign, find the reference angle. If you use your calculator and find the inverse, you will see that the angle, the reference angle, becomes 55.2 degrees. This means that there are two solutions, either in the second or either in the third. So if we go with the second, we say that 36 times x minus 5 is 180 minus 55.2, which is 124.8. Now, if you divide both by 36, we get x minus 5 is 124.8 divided by 36. Move 5 to the right. You get x here is approximately 8.5. That's the first one. The second one, we say that 36 times x minus 5 has to be equal to 180 plus 55.2 to be in the third quadrant. If we solve this one by dividing by 36 and then moving 5 to the right, we get that x is approximately 11.5. Now, since we know that this is a periodic function, the cos, and these two values, they are going to repeat based on the period. This means that the general solution is x is 8.5 plus the period, which is 10 times n. N can be either 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or it can be a negative number, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and so forth. And the other solution is 11.5 plus or minus 10n. here plus or minus 2. So for n, if we assume n is a natural number, positive, 0, and so forth, then the general solution is going to be 8.5 plus or minus 10n and 11.5 plus or minus 10n.